On paper, pairing the Harley-Davidson Fatboy 117 and the Ducati Diavel V4 looks completely unhinged. You have a heavy, traditional push-rod American cruiser sitting next to a high-revving, aluminum monocoque Italian hyper-naked, dressed up in fancy cruiser clothes. But out here in the real world, some riders are actually cross-shopping these two machines. In fact, a subscriber just reached out to me recently for help in trying to choose between the two. And to be candid, it's a debate I've been having in my own head lately. I have been seriously considering whether it's time to trade in the high-tech, screaming adrenaline of my Diavel for the pure thumping heavy metal presence of a new Fatboy 117. So this isn't only a speculative shootout. This is a real world look at what happens when you have 25 grand burning a hole in your pocket and you're torn between two completely opposite definitions of ultimate garage presence. Let's find out which one belongs in your driveway and maybe mine. Let's do work. Guys, in this video, I am wearing Saint motorcycle jeans, who also gave me a discount code for you guys. These jeans are stylish, comfortable enough to wear. I've actually worn these at work, even in the office, and they are 200 times stronger than steel. My discount code is in the description below, and the full review is at the end of this video. I highly recommend these. Check them out. The Fatboy is a rolling monument of steel and chrome. It relies on a massive visual weight, signature solid disc Lakester wheels, and an ultra-wide stance to make its statement. And boy, does it make a statement. Riding the Fatboy is an analog, tactile experience. It is a slow-revving, high-torque locomotive that feels deeply connected to mechanical history. The Diavel V4 looks like a concept bike that escaped a laboratory. It drops the traditional feet-forward cruiser layout for a slightly pulled-back, muscular, sport-naked posture, but still comfortable. Built around an aluminum monocoque frame and a single-sided swing arm, the Diavel is a high-revving, lightweight hypercruiser that utilizes sophisticated aerodynamics and modern sport bike geometry. In terms of a tech breakdown, these two machines achieve their power in completely opposite ways. With the Fatboy, you get the Milwaukee-Eight 117V twin, weighing in at 1,923 cc's of displacement, versus the Diavel's V4 Gran Turismo at just under 1,200 cc's. The Fatboy pushes out 103 horsepower versus the Diavel's 168. And here's where a lot of the fun happens. The torque on the Fatboy is an astounding 126 pound-feet at 3,000 RPM, compared to the Diavel V4's 93 pound-feet of torque at 7,500 RPM. The Fatboy is quite a beast at 694 pounds, where the Diavel's muscularity gets it down to 520 pounds. The seat height on the Fatboy is much more approachable at 25.9 inches, versus the Ducati Diavel is also approachable 31.1 inches. In terms of transmission on the Fatboy, you get a 6-speed belt drive versus the Diavel's 6-speed chain drive with a quick shifter. Alright, specs out of the way, let's talk about handling. If your favorite riding involves cruising down wide open highways, coastal roads, slowly or quickly, taking in the views and leaving stoplights with low-end torque punch, the Fatboy is unmatched. With its massive 160 section front tire and 240 section rear tire, the bike tracks as straight as a train and is planted. However, cornering requires physical effort. Because of those fat tires and a long wheelbase, you have to use upper body leverage to force the bike into a lean, and you will scrape the floorboards quickly at a modest 25.6 degree angle. The Diavel V4 laughs at the concept of cruiser handling limits. In fact, it takes off its glove and slaps them in the face with it. Despite also running a massive 240 section rear tire, Ducati's chassis geometry allows it to tip into corners with sport bike-like agility. It features fully adjustable USD forks and Brembo styloma brakes that stop the bike on a dime. Where the Harley requires muscle to steer, the Diavel reacts to light bar inputs and easily carries massive lean angles through tight twisties. So the Fatboy is more planted, stable, comfortable, and really excels at cruising and just taking in the view. And the Diavel is comfortable, not as comfortable as the Fatboy, but still comfortable. It's certainly fun for cruising, but the views go by in more of a blur when your hair's on fire and you're getting knee down on the twisties. No joke. So the Diavel handles better, but the Fatboy is more planted and comfortable in a straight line. In terms of power delivery, the Fatboy's V-twin is all about instant gratification. All 126 pound-feet of torque are available right off the bottom of the rev range. You don't need to rev it out. You shift early, listen to the deep classic rumble, and feel the massive pistons chugging along beneath you. The Diavel's V4 is a detuned sport bike engine. It is relatively smooth at low speeds. Although stock, it does come with an annoying cylinder deactivation, but a BT Moto tune can fix that up right quickly. I have a discount code in the description below for a BT Moto tune if you're interested. The Diavel is relatively smooth at low speeds, but once you cross 7,000 RPM, it transforms into an absolute rocket ship. The engine screams, the quick shifter lets you bang through gears without touching the clutch, and the wheelie control actively works to keep the front tire on the ground. And make no mistake, this bike will power wheelie easily in first, second, or probably even third gear. Maybe higher if you know what you're doing. This bike rips. If you're going 97 miles an hour and you twist the throttle, it will still launch you back in your seat. Not that I've done that or anything. Ducati Diaries always recommends obeying the speed limits. Both bikes have attitude, and they are two flavors of savage. To truly understand this comparison, we have to throw spec sheets out of the window for a second and talk about presence. Both of these bikes are savage, but they command a room using entirely different languages. The Fat Boy has mechanical machismo. It is a rolling monument of raw, unyielding steel. Its attitude is it has nothing to prove. It's heavy, it's low, it's wide. It doesn't care about technology because it relies on timeless structural dominance. Although the bike does come with cutting-edge tech such as ride modes, ABS, traction control, and more, it's all hidden under the classic Americana of the bike. The tech is not front and center. The Diavel V4 has cyberpunk aggression. It is a completely different breed of outlaw, but it is still an outlaw, make no mistake. If the Fat Boy is a classic muscle car, the Diavel is a stealth fighter jet. Its savage factor is high-tech, razor-sharp, and predatory. It commands respect through engineering violence. As I said, the aesthetic looks like it belongs in a cyberpunk film. The massive front air intakes, the exposed single-sided swing arm, and that wild cluster-style LED taillight look incredibly aggressive. And I gotta tell ya, I get compliments and thumbs up like every time I go out. The Diavel V4 can easily embarrass unexpected sport bikes in the canyons, and doing so in comfort. In terms of stock sound, they both sound great, but I think you'll agree the Fat Boy sounds better. Have a listen. For a buyer trying to decide between these two heavyweights, the financial reality of rolling one out of the showroom is just important as the horsepower. While both sit at the premium end of the market, their pricing structures, dealer experiences, and overall value propositions look very different on paper and on the dealership floor. A 2026 Harley-Davidson Fat Boy will set you back $22,599. And if you want to add premium paint schemes, expect to add at least $750 to over $1,500 to the MSRP right off the bat. That brings it a little bit closer, but not quite as high as the 2026 Ducati Diavel V4's $27,995 price point, which is pretty staggering. But you get what you pay for. It's worth every penny. The Diavel commands a roughly $4,300 premium over the base Fat Boy, and this extra cash goes directly into its aluminum monocoque frame, sophisticated electronics suite, and the complex 168 horsepower V4 Gran Turismo engine, as well as the Italian exoticness. Buy the Fat Boy 117 if you want a bike that's cheaper up front, holds its value like gold, costs less to maintain over 10 years, and lets you buy into the massive Harley-Davidson community. Or buy the Diavel V4 if you're willing to pay a premium upfront for a turnkey hyper-performance machine, where every dollar of the purchase price is visibly engineered into unmatched speed, agility, and world-class components. And if you want to be an exclusive member of the Ducatisti, or the Ducati family. Choose a Harley-Davidson Fat Boy if you want a traditional heavy metal cruiser with unmatched presence, if you prefer a low seat height, forward floorboards, and a relaxed, laid-back riding posture. It is super comfortable. If you love massive low-end torque and the mechanical feel of an analog machine, or if you plan on doing mostly highway cruising or boulevard riding, or just soaking in the scenery and planted comfort. Choose the Ducati Diavel V4 if you want to soak in the scenery, but it's going to go by a little bit faster in a blur. If you want cutting-edge technology, ride modes, wheelie control, and top-tier electronics. But don't forget the Fat Boy also has cutting-edge tech. If you want sport bike acceleration and the ability to carve up mountain roads. If you prefer a mid-control upright seating position that keeps you active on the bike. And if you want the absolute maximum horsepower and performance a cruiser can offer. Both of these machines are absolute kings of the road, but they rule over entirely different kingdoms. Your choice ultimately comes down to whether you want to muscle a mechanical legend or pilot a futuristic rocket. I hope this helped you choose which bike you want. I would love to have both in my garage, and I have been seriously thinking of trading my Diavel V4 for a Fat Boy. But every time I take the Diavel out on twisty high-speed roads like the Sawmill River Parkway in New York, I'm cutting through corners like an escaping bandit on the Diavel, and I realize I just can't trade it in. So please subscribe, like, comment, and maybe if we hit 100,000 subs, I can get both bikes. Until then, always remember the motto, always be kinder than necessary, and I'll see you in the next one.